Hello and welcome to Villa TV and to Matchday Live. We're back at Villa Park for a big one. It's Aston Villa versus Man City, who have really lost their way of late after 8 defeats in their last 11 outings. Pep Guardiola attempting to overcome his biggest career setback. Aston Villa looking to pick up from where they left off, winning their last 2 home games at Villa Park. My name is Tracey, and as you can see, I have been spoilt again. My own version of the 3 wise men here, McInally, Stiliyan, Petrov, and joining us, making his matchday debut, Darius, Vassell. Of course, you're going to have somewhat split allegiances here, playing for Man City, Aston Villa, and of course, England striker as well. But great to have you on board.
To meet you guys again.
Yes, of course, and after your podcast as well.
See, he's not the wise man, by the way. He's although I'm happy for him to be the wise man, Stan.
It's a big game. He could be nervous.
Hey,
and
Could
also
be.
with his ski trousers, he's there.
He thought we were going to be by
Darius was ready for pitch side, and then we've spoiled him to a studio now. Only our second time in the studio, Darius, so we're spoiling you somewhat.
Always prepared, always came prepared. I've got my burgundy top, I've got my uniform on. I'm ready to. Yep.
You are ready to go, and looking forward to this one, Stiliyan, as well.
I do. I think a lot of fans, a lot of media has talked about that probably is the good time for Villa to face Man City. I don't think so. I think it will be a difficult game, especially when you play against teams. They've got enough quality. They've got a great manager as well. So they're looking to bounce back and to get back on the winning track. And it's something that they can do today. But Villa, especially playing at home, they've got a great advantage.
It feels like a huge game, Alan, doesn't it? Because we've just spoken about it there, and Stiliyan's just said the rockiness of Man City's form in the last few weeks, for confidence at an all-time low. You know they're going to bounce back. Well, you'd assume so at some point. Hopefully it's not today.
Well, if we're sitting in the dressing room right now, the gaffer's told us we've gone through corners, free kicks, everything against us. You're going through your own mental process now, but you know there's a little bit of doubt in the dressing room across the road. The only thing is, and Stan's right, forget about their results, because although, by the way, I didn't think they played that badly against Manchester United. I know they got turned over, but they didn't play that badly. But we might have to concede a bit of possession. But the biggest thing I'd be thinking about as a player is when they always used to win the ball back quickly, always, and high up the pitch. I don't think they've done that as well, Manchester City. So we might not be under as much pressure as a lot of people think. They're a very, very good outfit. They have international football players, and we have to start absolutely on the button, or we won't get anything today. I mean, of all the Villa fans I spoke today, everybody's up for it. We're all excited. It's Christmas. Man City are coming to town. Trust me, it's going to be such a difficult game today. It really is.
It's not. You mentioned something that you have to go back to the basics, to what you have to do. Absolutely. You have to go and press them. You have to make sure you win your second ball. And the main thing is what we done last season. What I've done is just using the space, making sure that we hit them on a break and use these opportunities, because as much as Manchester City are vulnerable at the moment at the back, it's going to come a point that those players now, big players, that's what big players do, they want to react. They want to make sure that they put a good performance and they win a game. But like I say, playing at Villa Park here with the record we've got,
And the other thing, bud, is if we're City players, we're like, hang on a minute, this is not us.
Well,
do you know what I mean? We're coming to town. We're going to turn over a team that's expecting to beat us.
I think with the players that they've got in their team, we spoke about it before, didn't we? These are top quality players, and top quality players don't suffer for long. They do go for their periods like everybody else where they struggle a little bit or things aren't going quite right, but it doesn't last long with the top quality players. And I don't know if you've ever been through this, Alan. Have you ever not scored a goal for a while or anything?
I remember I looked at the clock, there was 17 minutes, and there was still 0-0, and I said to the manager, take me off. This is ridiculous. But you're right though. But I'm talking about the doubt and Stan has already talked about the vulnerability. They absolutely are, and we have to take that to our advantage today.
Yeah, what I'll say is there'll be moments in this game where we have to capitalise as a team and get the goal, get the tackle, get the header, win the 1v1, anything like that, and that's what will hurt Man City. If we don't take those moments, then I don't think Man City, are going to suffer as much as people are expecting.
Those small moments, those key moments as well that you talk about, and winning those. And of course, it was only one goal that separated Aston Villa and Man City at Villa Park last year, Leon Bailey's goal to be more specific. Now let's look back at that memorable night last December.
Leon Bailey crosses to shoot, goes a goal, and from Leon Bailey. Still going onto his right boot. Leon Bailey for Aston Villa. Oh yes! Leon Bailey for Aston Villa. He took an deflection. It's in the back of the net. The whole 10. Villa Park jumps up and down and celebrates as Villa take the lead. Oh, it's in the box. Takes it away, and there goes the full-time whistle. Aston Villa have beaten the Premier League champions.
Yeah, a repeat of that night would be nice, wouldn't it? Now, we're going to get more into reflections of that game in due course. But for now, though, we have team news to bring you if you haven't seen this yet, starting with Aston Villa. Now, of course, Emi Martinez in goal. Matty Cash sits further back into the right-back position. Esri Konsa and Pau Torres making up the centre of defence. Luca Dean at left-back. Then we have Yuri Tielemans, Boubacar Kamara and Amadou Onana all in the midfield. John McGinn, John Duran with his start again, and Morgan Rogers. Now, in terms of Man City, of course, they've had their own injury crisis throughout the main part of the season. Ortega is in goal, though. Rico Lewis, John Stones, Akanji and Gvardiol. Then we have Gundogan and Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish getting his start, and Erling Haaland up top. So first and foremost, Stiliyan, reflections for Aston Villa there. John Duran getting his start again.
I'm surprised, but that's what big managers do. They make decisions. I think he deserved the start. He has played really well. He was coming on as a sub. Affecting the game in the right way, and I think he does deserve the start. He scored a great goal against Nottingham Forest. He looked lively, so I'm not surprised that Unai Emery has made that change. But Ollie Watkins will be a big miss, especially in this game with his pace and the way he runs behind, his timing of the runs as well.
And Darius, we talk about, I mean, as Aston Villa, we are so lucky. We probably have the two best number 9s in the entire league. You even look at Man City, even when they're at their best, they've kind of just got Haaland, really. That's right. But so we're in such a lucky position. And it feels like we, as fans of Aston Villa, should be making the most of this rather than trying to tee up between the pair of those two. But how much does competition factor into that for a striker?
Yeah, I was going to mention that. It's massive. Competition is absolutely massive, and there's an opportunity today for Duran to go out and prove and show what he's capable of doing, having started a football match. And that does drive you as a football player, and this is where we get to learn as football fans, you know, how good are you really in the big moments. And Duran gets to learn about himself. Is he really capable of stepping to the fore and helping the team get the result which they need to get? Also, you know, that quality and that the power almost that you have on the bench, that's not to be denied as well. Villa have an opportunity of really finishing the game strong today.
Now, Yuri Tielemans, Alan, comes into mid-division. Now, he is making his 200th Premier League game. But with Amadou Onana and Boubacar Kamara as well, that is such a strong midfield.
It's the only thing I'm concentrating on today. Genuinely, I know that and it's part of us because we're like, is the gaffer going to play Ollie Watkins? Has he still got a bit of a knock? Does he play Duran? Do we go for that little bit of power earlier on? And the guys are talking about trying to get the ball in behind, which we'll have to do today. The first thing I looked at when I saw the team was the middle of the park. That will be important for us today. Onana back, Morgan Rogers has to move that ball quick, get forward, give John Duran as much support as he possibly can, and Boubacar does his thing and he sits. The midfield today is important, equally as important, if not more, today against Manchester City, to make sure they don't dominate the game in there. And if they don't, that's when we can create chances, get the ball into wider areas, get Matty Cash forward on the right-hand side, and let's put them under a bit of pressure, and don't let it easy for them. Because John will do his thing up top with the Kanji and Stones, that's okay. And at the back, Ezra will be happier because he's playing in beside Powell, so we've got Kashi at right back rather than Ezra at right back. It's much better, but Onana coming back is a huge positive for us in terms of free kicks for, free kicks against, because the big man scored. Who did he score? The header against
West Ham,
Leicester.
Season.
Yeah, but he scored against Leicester, if you remember as well.
Yes.
Him being back for set pieces is going to really help us a lot, and it'll give them now a problem, Man City, for us going forward, and for all those set pieces I think the game might hinge on today.
Now, Darius, we look at Man City there, and we talk about their injury woes this season. Of course, Rodri being the most notable of which earlier on in the season. But they've made a lot of changes there. Pep Guardiola, he's not afraid to drop players, which we've seen in their lineup today.
Yeah, sure, and I think it just shows that Man City are going through something, as you've described there. But again, this is what I say, you're talking about the most, the highest quality players, that are out there, and they don't suffer for long. And as a high quality player, when you're not in the team, when you get that opportunity to get into the team, that's your moment, and the top quality ones
Grealish playing
take
today
it.
as well, Darius. We puts Grealish right in.
And you've got a nice stat as well.
No, I was only going to say, because I thought Darius specifically would speak about Jack coming back here. The only stat I've got is, and obviously you know it now, was how many minutes has Jack actually played against Aston Villa for Man City at Villa Park? 4 minutes. Never started a game against them.
That surprised me when you
It's
told me
amazing. I mean, unbelievable. So all of a sudden they've got a few injuries, but I want you to talk about it, not me. I'm just reminding you, because I've just watched and I went, oh God, Jack Grealish is playing
This is what I'm
as well.
saying to you,
So
and he
that's
is a top
another
player, and we
sparkle.
all know that he's a top player, and he gets his opportunity now. And if he's only played 4 minutes back home at his hometown club, it's a massive chance for him today.
Yeah, and that's why Onana's job today will be very important because you know what Jack can offer. I always believe Jack's position is better in the middle rather than wide. Yeah. He does drive with that ball. He does hold the ball. He frees space for other players. That's where Onana has to be really switched on and make sure he does.
But he will play out on that left-hand side, won't he, Stan?
No, he won't go there. I think it's in the last couple of times, we've seen him receiving that ball, driving with the ball, attracting attention to himself and freeing space for other players, which when you create the quality the Man City players got, getting in the position to get one-on-ones and to get a little bit more space, they can create more.
I'm delighted he's playing because it's a bit of gold dust. Because if we were playing in the Villa team today and we know Jack and he's coming back, I'm having a dig properly.
Good to know you're in the studio today,
well,
then, isn't it?
you know what I mean? I'm just saying there might be a little bit of one of them giving it out.
You have to.
Exactly. We're not going to make it easy for him, for goodness sake. And it's going to be difficult for us in the best of terms as we've been talking about, because it's a difficult game for us. But Jack just playing today is a little bit more gold dust for us to put hopefully the right result for us.
As if this game needed any extra bite and intrigue to it as well. But of course, both teams coming here off of the back of a bit of a setback then in their most recent start. And that has been the case for Aston Villa as well against Forest, where Villa for the first half was a bit of a non-event. Then in the second half, after they got their goal, they looked completely in control. Of course, ended up losing the goal. But there was an unbelievable save, though, from Emi Martinez. I mean, Stiliyan, have you seen anything like this save before?
Well, we've seen Emi Martinez from the day one. I mean, few times in the show I've mentioned the big save, how many points he wins. But that's what he is. He's so switched on. He's concentrated. It's incredible. And when you have a keeper like that, you feel like comfortable. I can make mistakes, but this is the one. It's just the reaction. The ball is already nearly behind him, and he just stretched. Look at the reaction. So many bodies. And Ali, Darius, with so many bodies there, that ball could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Look at his reaction straight away.
Oh, yeah.
This is about preparation, about being ready, concentration, being alert to what's coming. And this is what the performances he's been producing all day long.
I'd have been absolutely gutted if
you didn't score.
Because as soon as he flicks it, he's thinking, and by the way, there's enough pace on the ball as well.
Plenty,
it's not as if it's like going to bobble and just dribble over the line. Listen, the guys are right. The guy's unbelievable. His antennae as a goalkeeper to sense danger is super, and his reactions were unbelievable. The only problem was, of course, we went on and we got beat 2-1, which kind of would have been lovely had we managed even to get a point out of it after that great save. But hey, that happens in football. Bump in the road, we go again, we're back at Villa Park.
Yeah. Darius, I loved watching your reaction as we were just playing the VT there and watching it back. You were just in awe again.
Well, the reason is because we spoke about this before we came in today. We were just sitting down having a chat, myself and Stiliyan, about that save, and we were trying to remember the circumstances and things like that. So obviously we don't have the VT when we're having a chat. Obviously you put the VT on and I'm like, yeah, it was that good. That's one of the best saves I've ever seen.
Yeah, Seaman-esque from back in the day then, wasn't it? Just on pure instinct alone. But as you say, it was disappointing, of course, that Aston Villa went on to lose that game. But Alan, Forest are where they are in the table on merit. I know that last season obviously was a completely different kettle of fish for them, but they are a good side this year.
Certainly at home they're very good. Their City ground form has been excellent. I thought we deserved to get something out of the game, and I think the guys coming home in the bus would have been really down, genuinely really down. But we have to make this, but I think I saw Ollie Watkins speaking about it actually the last couple of days about this is not necessarily to make this place a fortress, but our results here have to be as good as what Forest are doing at home.
You know what? You've teed up my next VT
sorry.
absolutely perfectly there. I feel like I don't even have to say anything because as Alan has just said, Ollie Watkins was talking about the home advantage of Villa Park returning to a fortress after wins against Brentford and Southampton.
Ollie, Manchester City this weekend. How much are you looking forward to the game?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Obviously, a big team coming to Villa Park. We've got a really good home record, and obviously last year when we played them, that was a great week for us as a team, as a club. So yeah, hopefully we can repeat that.
You've touched on it there, being back at Villa Park. We've won our last 2 matches on home soil. How good would it be to get back out in front of our home fans?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, since the boss has come in, we've made it a little bit of a fortress. Obviously going on the I think it was 15 games, which is amazing. So we know what we're capable of, and hopefully we can do that again.
And again, our home form last season was excellent. We're currently 7 matches unbeaten at Villa Park this season. Mm-hmm. Just how important is the home form in the whole context of the season?
Yeah, I think obviously being at home, you want it to be a bit of a fortress and have that home support. Make it a tough place for away teams to go, and like I said, we've done that in previous seasons. But yeah, even when you can't win, just not losing, so picking up points. Yeah, if you can't win, then don't lose.
Yeah, great to hear from Ollie Watkins and trying to turn Villa Park back into that fortress again of last year, where of course, Darius, we saw the 15 games that they won at home, unbeaten in 17 home games as well. It was an unbelievable time.
Yeah, that was insane. That was crazy. Obviously, me being a Villa fan growing up myself and being around a lot of Villa fans, something to be proud of as well. Really proud. And it was very much that fortress. Teams found it difficult to get anything from us at all. And not only that, we was playing really good football. And I can understand why, you know, Ollie wants himself and the team to get back to that as soon as possible. It's going to really stand them in good stead, starting with a result today.
Hopefully so, and hopefully we can replicate exactly what was the case last year. Now, as we mentioned earlier on, we were going to look back at Aston Villa versus Man City from last year, the 1 goal separating the pair of them, and Leon Bailey with that goal as well. So crucial, Stiliyan. And at that point of the season, it just felt like anything was possible for Villa.
Yes, and it's because the team is playing with the confidence, and this is what Villa is all about, pace, breaking quickly. Leon Bailey was outstanding that game, and this is just him being confident, you know, taking people on, driving with the ball, and just taking that shot. I know it's a deflection, but you know what? This is the goals that you win games with. But Villa was just perfect through the day. They were just so good. They were moving the ball quicker. They were very compact. And this is what it's all about. Look at the bodies that try to break in because they just want to win the game. And this is what makes you a good home team. You just never give up. You just push forward and you take those little moments. And that was a big moment for Leon Bailey and Villa.
We could have scored 5 goals that night.
Yeah.
To be fair, they could have scored a couple, but we were by far the better team. But what you've just seen Leon Bailey do, I would show him it every time he runs out.
Yeah.
Which is aggression, taking him on, using your pace, be skillful, make it difficult. Come inside sometimes, come outside the next time. Don't make it easy for defenders. And the defender then, and he played so well that day because he was doing both, he had to give him a yard because he wasn't sure whether he was going to let it through him, whether he was going to up his body out and take him on the right-hand side. Show him that and say, that's what we expect from you. You set your own standards, this is what we expect. And I think that's what Ollie's talking about. We had standards last season at home at Villa Park that were just a little bit higher than we're getting at the moment. Defensively, if we're going to have that kind of record, we need to smell danger, and we'll have to be at it today.
And to beat Man City at that time last year, when Man City were just unstoppable at that point as well, Darius. Now, of course, we've got a very different Man City this time around, and we have just touched upon it earlier on. But what do you think it is? Because we spoke about the Rodri injury early on in the season. Of course, they've always had a smaller squad, and that kept everyone happy for a long time. But I guess you're slightly playing with fire somewhat when you do get as many injuries as you do, because you don't have that backup. But what is it in your opinion?
I just think when you set the standard so high, which they have done over the years, when they do slip up, it's definitely exaggerated. I don't think it will last that long. It definitely is a slip up. They're definitely going through a period, but when you set the standards that high, It looks alarming when they go through these spells. I think what we're all waiting for is to see, you know, when are they going to come out of this spell. Hopefully it isn't today, but I do believe it won't be long if it isn't today.
Stiliyan, do you think they've got the legs?
I was just gonna ask that is, do you think they still got the hunger from that many successes to go and do it week in and week out?
Well, this is the question. It gets answered, doesn't it? That's the great question. But the top players do have it.
Yeah.
When you're a top player, you have got the hunger. It's not even a question. It's a matter of time to get yourself out of the situation that you're in. But we are going to find out very shortly
how much hunger they actually have.
You mentioned Rodri. Somebody had said to me yesterday, does one player make that much of a difference? And I think in Rodri's circumstances, I think it does. I think he's that important to the football team. Not only that, when you're sitting in the dressing room, you look across and you're like,
yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
Rodri's playing. Spain don't win the Euros, by the way, if Rodri's not playing.
No.
He's the dynamo of the team. Everything goes through him.
But Stan, you know, you played in that position as well. He doesn't just sit and
nobody was passing me the ball.
Well, they had to go round you, to be fair. But you know what I mean. But he still gets forward, and you know, it's not just like he's like the destroyer and he can't play. But having, you know, good players either side of him who are allowed to then go and play, because his starting position is always right bang in the centre. I remember ages and ages ago when Jan Wouters was the manager at Ajax, and I said, how can you play like this? And he said, it's all about your starting position. He said, if you're a centre midfield player and you're a defensive midfield player, there's no point starting 10 yards to the left and the ball breaks on the right, because you're having 40 yards to cover. If your starting position's right and we lose the ball, we're 10 yards either to get it up. And it's important, and it's a discipline in players who have to have stuff like that. He has it, they don't have it at the moment, and that's why they're conceding a few goals.
And I guess when you've got a player of Rodri's calibre, when you've got a Ballon d'Or winner, you're not going to have someone of a similar calibre to take his place still in when he's injured. So you're going to have someone like a Calvin Phillips a few rungs below, therefore. So does that make it tricky when you do get that talisman who is then hurt?
Yeah, I think Alan hit the nail on the head there. It's not just the ability of him as a player. When you're another player who has ability and you look across that dressing room, as Alan says, and you know that he's playing and you know that he's in your team, all of these light bulbs start to light up. You start to realise all the opportunities that you're going to get because he's in the team. You start to realise how stronger you're going to be because he's in the team. Similar to what you said about the goalkeeper. You start to lift your own game because the people around you are involved. So I think it brings the best out of everybody else just by his presence, not just as much as what he's playing.
Talk to me about Phil Foden. What's happening with Phil Foden? I mean, generally, Stan, I'm like...
I'll tell you what happened.
He's a player of the year last year.
Missing Rodri. I'll tell you that.
Really?
I done analysis last year, I remember. We were talking about Rodri and Foden. And I said that without Rodri, Foden won't play. Why? Because Rodri, sometimes he takes time, he holds the ball, he finds the perfect pass. When Foden make that in these little pockets, when he gets there, he gets the ball in the right time with the right speed.
Yeah.
At the moment, Foden is like isolated. He's just looking, he's going deeper, he's not playing further forward. That's where he can hurt teams. And this is all down to one player, Rodri, because what he does is he finds the players at the right time.
What about you? You must, I mean, there's a position you played in as well sometimes, all over, or left or right, or just off the front. I'm not seeing the same kind of player at all. Is it a confidence thing with him, or he just seems to be miles away? And by the way, I shouldn't be saying this because this is the kiss of death for him.
I was going to say
he'll probably be so
point,
good today,
yeah.
but I mean, he's just been miles away, isn't he?
I think Stiliyan's got a point. I think the freedom and the way that he plays his best football is not there anymore. It's probably getting mechanical now. He's probably asking himself the similar questions to what you've just said and trying to think about how to get out of the situation where he's in. Whereas when Rodri's playing, everything's happening naturally. All his movements, he's getting found at the right time. That timing's everything. I think now he's trying to manufacture something because of the situation that the club and himself are in.
Definitely not to be underestimated, though, still all the same. And hopefully Alan hasn't jinxed that by any means. Now, of course, Unai Emery sat down with the media for his usual pre-game press conference yesterday, touching upon today's competition, as well as his opposite number.
We are facing each match, respecting this competition is the most difficult competition in the world, and then each team, they are giving us a lot of information about how we are facing them, and tomorrow is the best team for the last years, clearly, in Premier League, and now maybe they are not being consistent for different circumstances, but they are the best, and the coach is the best. But the difficulties in the Premier League, I arrived here 2 years ago. I was before in the past as well here, and it's always very difficult. And to be consistent like they are being usually is the most difficult. To win after to win, and they were being successful for the last year, being consistent in everything. And now, I think they will be again getting their good performances, and they have time to be a winner in this competition again. And of course, tomorrow we are going to face them, and the most important, how we are responding against them. How we are going to respond, how we are going to face them, how we are going to test individually, collectively, how we are now with them. This is the most important for me.
Yeah, great to hear from Unai. And as you would expect, he is giving massive respect, Stiliyan, to today's opposition and to Pep Guardiola as well. But he's also said that it has taken him by surprise somewhat, their recent form.
He has to. He's not delusional. He knows what kind of team he's facing today. You know what kind of managers they've got. You know the fire, the hunger that they've got, and he just. I'm sure he's made the team and the players aware what to expect today, because today you have to be at your best to be this team. Doesn't matter how many games they haven't won, what kind of form they've got. You have to be at your best. You have to do your job, and this is the main thing, because that team can turn up and win the rest of the games until the end of the season. They've got the ability to do that. They've got the players, the quality. They've done it before. So I'm sure that, and Unai Emery is saying they're the best. And they are the best. They're still the best. And saying that they've gone through that bad patch, they can come out of it very easily, and they can go on the long run and win games.
And Alan, Unai talks about the toughness of the league there as well. And of course, Aston Villa are experiencing that now in the Champions League and the longer format of the Champions League as well. But sure, Man City have had that for how many years on the bounce now? And perhaps that might be taking a toll, and that's what Unai was touching upon.
Well, it's taking its toll for injuries. Of that, there is absolutely no question. I think we mainly, I mean, you can't say they're being unlucky, but when you pick up injuries and you're not at your absolute best, then things are going to, fall off a little bit. That's just the way it is. With the players they buy for the football club, who are top-end players, when sometimes they're not available, you're not as good. You're really not. I mean, I was looking at the team was just at the side there, and I was thinking, Bernardo Silva, he's been absolutely unbelievable for Manchester City. And he might be today. And he'll be just as dangerous as Jack and Haaland and Gundogan and. So they've got danger all over the place. But yeah, you're right. They haven't had that real impact. And by the way, our manager, Unai Emery, always talks about domestic form and be as consistent as you can be. Because if you can do that, you'll end up in Europe. And it's a lovely position to be in. The only thing is, we're experiencing it now, and we've got a game on the Wednesday, game on the Saturday, Sunday, game on the Tuesday, game on the Saturday, Sunday, game on the Friday, game on the month. And they come thick and fast. They genuinely do. And we've picked up a couple of injuries. Anana was out for ages. Matty Cash did a hamstring, if you remember. Jacob Ramsey's still out. And we're getting some players back. It's a long season. But if you can be consistent in your domestic form, at home especially, then we'll be absolutely fine. And Unai speaks about it all the time. And he's right. They are still the best, but they have hit a big bump in the road that there is doubt and vulnerability in their team at the moment. That's what Man City have to get over today.
As you say, that Unai has said that they are still the best. They still have the best coach as well, Pep Guardiola, who also sat down with the media yesterday.
Can I just finish by asking about Aston Villa, because you know from experience the difficulties, particularly of managing a successful Premier League campaign alongside the Champions League and having success in both competitions. Well, so far Aston Villa have adapted seemingly very well. How impressed have you been with what they've done this season specifically?
Yeah, no surprise. Top excellent manager, handled many things and have done incredible success like season qualified in the Champions League. The result in the Champions League speaks for itself. And they are handling good because Unai have been in many clubs handling both competitions, European and local competitions, and done really well. So it's not a surprise that they reinforce the squad. The squad is depth, is a long squad. It's really good. So yeah, in that terms, it's nice.
Yeah, it's a really tricky time for Pep Guardiola at present. And Darius, we talk about the measure of the players, the measure of the man as well. This is an unbelievably tricky time for him as well.
Yeah, massive test for him. I do like the fact that he's acknowledging our manager here and the good work that is been done. But at the same time, he seems a bit nonchalant in the way that he's talking about it, which gives me the impression that he's embroiled in his own work. He's working hard. He's working 24/7 to get City where they need to be. But in terms of him being impressed with our manager, that's the main thing I got out of that interview. I think that's important for him to acknowledge because our manager has been great over the years.
There's a lot of mutual respect there, understandably so, between the pair of those two. And in many styles of their play, they're not too dissimilar as managers either then as well. But again, we say about so much intrigue for today's game as if we needed any more. Seeing both of those two press conferences as well there, Stiliyan, it just adds further fuel to the fire for today.
It is. They both know each other inside out. They know how they play. They both play kind of similar way with shorter passes, building up, making sure they find those little openings. It's just who wants them more. Yeah. That's what is it today. Who wants them more? And Pep Guardiola, he pays respect for that. But as a manager, you, Darius, being a manager, you go there and you're like, I want to win. It doesn't matter. I'll pay the respect. I'll pay everything. I want to win. I want to be the winner. And today is going to be who wants them more and who wants to be on the top of it. And Villa have got great advantage because they're playing home and they've been playing brilliantly at home. And that's the main thing.
It's a great game to look forward to. Cannot wait for this one. Plenty more build-up to today's game in just a few.
Hey, geezer.
All right, Oz.
Let's play Villa Park.
As long as I'm left wing.
Please, Lord, just let me play for the Villa.
Pass. Do nice high line practice. To your right. Forward to the right. Hold the line, Rob.
Unai, I've got this. I'm ready to play.
Who's that? Do you want me through the middle or on the left?
Have you seen my Preds?
Number 11, the Prince of Darkness.
Who's that? The biggest frontman to ever come out of Birmingham.
This is the Emi Martinez Masterclass.
We go all the way next time.
Up the Villa!
Up the Villa!
Up the Villa!
Up the Villa!
Up the Villa! Up the Villa! Up the Villa!
We've got a game to play.
Leo Bailey for Aston Villa. Begin. It's 1-0. Still walking. Oh, what a finish. Fantastic finish, that is.
Why? Go and play up your own end.
Come on, love. Leave him alone.
A British new record. 15 home wins in the league on the bounce. It's incredible.
Aston Villa is regenerating the area in front of the historic North Stand. An extraordinary transformation on a scale as big as the club's ambitions.
But this is not just a construction project. It's about creating a space that means something to the Villa fans, the Villa Park community, and soon to many more. It's about building on the club's 150-year heritage while also looking to the future.
Securing Aston Villa's legacy as a powerhouse of sport, culture and community, not just in Birmingham but in the West Midlands and beyond.
First, we have the warehouse, once an artillery house, a manufacturing site, and most recently a cricket academy, which I think I played at a few times. It was due to be destroyed, but has now been repurposed as part of the new site. The new development will preserve its character and Villa's iconic red brick while regenerating the space to inspire future generations.
By night, the warehouse will transform into an amazing packed-out music venue, with events all year round from world-class gigs to intimate performances and a capacity of 3,500. You can already picture how this space is going to become the go-to destination for music fans.
Love it.
Some pretty exciting things happening about the place at present. Welcome back to Matchday Live with myself, Kate Tracey, alongside Alan McInally, Stiliyan Petrov, and Darius Vassell. The players are out on the pitch doing their warm-ups at present, but more importantly, Darius, we had you as our latest guest on the official Aston Villa podcast. How did you enjoy yourself? Hopefully you did.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was great to be back, and I've been receiving messages since the podcast of how good it was and how much people enjoyed it. So, yeah, thank you for that experience.
Yeah,
get him back for another one. Get him
back for another one.
That was just a teaser, everybody.
You're talking about your golf.
I really wish.
Funnily enough, we actually didn't get onto that on the podcast. One thing we did get onto that has been really well received on Instagram has been the drilling toe story, or the lack of drilling toe story. Have you had plenty about that?
Yeah, I always do. But like I said, the biggest person or the smallest person that laughs at that is my daughter. She's as I said, she's on the internet looking at the cartoons about it.
Oh, it was so much fun, wasn't it, Alan? I mean, both of these guys here, we've had both of them on the podcast, and it's been great fun for us too.
It's just, as ex-players, when you get to reflect on your career and good times and some bad times, and we all go through them, and the guys have spoke brilliantly and truthfully and openly, and Stan's, was unbelievable, and obviously Darius is now gone in a different direction into his coaching, and as well as having his family life, and I think genuinely a love for this football club that we all have. We are in a privileged position that we actually managed to play for this football club, and when you look back, you think, oh my God, this place is unbelievable. And it was back then. We maybe just didn't take it in as much, and it's not till you come back and you hear the fans and we start speaking about it again, that's when we're like, wow. It really was good, but the guys were just brilliant, and it's great to speak to the ex-players, and you and I hopefully will continue to do the podcast. Hopefully everybody's enjoying it and get as much content from the modern day players as well as the ex-players.
Yes, we've got 2 more in the bag as well, yet to come out in the next few weeks, so make sure to keep an eye out for that, and do head to the Villa app then if you want to catch the full podcast in video format from Darius's latest podcast there. Now, speaking of festive joy and spreading festive cheer, some of the Aston Villa players were spreading some of that joy then to Birmingham Children's Hospital and Acorns Children Hospice earlier on this week.
Socks for you.
Don't tackle me. Oh, you're trying to 2-foot me there on the ball. So you're the king of the Acorns on FIFA? Yeah. Oh!
Some really lovely scenes there, wasn't there? And Stiliyan, it was just great to see the players giving back to the community.
I mean, you know what is important? It's about giving people hope, belief, a little bit of happiness. I mean, don't forget, I work very closely with Birmingham Children's Hospital. I don't know how difficult it is for not just for the patient, but for the parents and their relatives. I mean, seeing your heroes players taking the time, going there, you know, making people happy. These little gestures make a difference in people's life. And this is something that the club is associated with and should be. And we're really proud of all the players, the club, what they're doing for the hospital and for the people, especially in the community.
That's the thing, Alan, isn't it? Is because you want to be proud of your team, you want to be proud of your players, and you see things like that, and you can't help but feel that pride.
Oh, listen, some of the pictures, it breaks your heart, for goodness sake. Whether it's Christmas or whether we're in the middle of June, and it's really a football player's duty to be, you know, to play your part in the community, to visit people who are less fortunate ourselves, and to promote Aston Villa in terms of we care, we do, and we want everybody to have the same opportunities in Aston Villa as the lads have at the moment, to go round. And if you're going to meet, I think Stan's spot on, you meet your heroes and you think, well, it's amazing, it's absolutely fantastic. And we did it as players, of course, so and we know what it guys. And it's not as though the players are going, oh, for God's sakes. They're like, yeah, absolutely. We go, let's have a good time, let's make somebody really happy with that little piece of time that they're going to remember for the rest of your life. With a bit of luck, we'll have 3 points today. It'll make them even happier.
Even happier again there, Darius. You were nodding along then.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's very much that. It's an opportunity as a player to go out there and make people happy. You get a chance to put the ball away for a while, get back to reality, get your feet on the ground, and make people happy. And it's a big, you know, head turner, a big reminder. And to get the opportunity to do that, I think it's massive. I missed that. I remember actually going to Acorns as a player a long time ago. But it's good to see the youngsters going out there and doing it now. I think it is really important.
But you know, it was really important because we've been players. We as a players, we live in a bubble. Everything, you know, you idolize, people talk about you, you get in the street and people, you know what, adore you. But when you go to these places and you see what's actually happening in life, what people go through, you appreciate it even life. You get that switch button that you go, okay, there's another side of life. And we are part of it. And we support, help, and make sure those people, we give them a little bit of support to go through those difficult times. And when you have players like, because some of the players, they're idol for their kids. Some of those kids are looking up to these players. They want to be like them. They want to be part of what the players been through. And when the players go there, it makes their day. And they will never forget that. They will never forget it.
And as you say, the appreciation of life as well. Now, of course, it is Aston Villa versus Man City today. All of the teams are still out warming up on the pitch behind us. But Alan, in terms of predictions today, what are you really looking forward to? What do you want to see from Villa? Talk about that midfield and the strength that we've got now with Amadou Onana coming back into the fray. What do you want to see?
Hughley, I want us to keep the ball as much as we can. Now, we have to might concede that. That's okay. Because, listen, it does. I can't remember, there was a stat not long ago. Somebody had 72%, but got beat. Sometimes it's not necessarily about having the ball. It's where you have it that you can make a real difference. So the middle of the park is an important player for me. And big that we try and get as much of the ball as we can and get it into the wider areas and get it forward. I want us to start really quickly. I think we're a better team when we start on fire. You know, rather than be a little bit too measured, get the ball in behind the fullbacks. Because remember, at the moment in time, Akanji's just come back, Stones has just come back, fullbacks are going to be vulnerable genuinely, and we've got players that can halt them in that position. So I want to see them turning and facing Ortega more than facing Emilio Martinez, which means get the ball in behind and get John Duran using his power in behind them and get them turned and get us up the pitch as much as we can. We don't want to be defending too often here today. It's going to be a tough match. I don't know what the guys think. I'm hoping we score more goals than them, quite simply. But I think it'll be really, really close. Don't be surprised if there's a winner in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, tactically, Darius, it's going to be fascinating to see, isn't it? Because talk about Man City and kind of their weakness in transitions as well this season. And if Villa can take full advantage of that, and as Alan says there, if you can get behind the likes of Gundogan, Silva and such like, they don't look as though they've got the legs to be able to keep up with our lot.
Yeah, there's a fine line, isn't there? I agree with Alan completely. There's going to be space in behind to take advantage of, but the quality needs to be right, the runs need to be right, and the timing. I don't think we can play a whole 90-minute game of football of launching it. I don't think, you know, Villa think that either as a team. But I think more importantly, there's going to be moments in this match, due to the inconsistencies that we spoke about with Man City and their selections, there's going to be moments in the game where Villa get an opportunity to win 1v1 battles, to win headers, to win tackles, to start really well. I think they need to win those battles when they come on and when they happen. And I think if they take advantage of that and they're clinical, it'll put them in good stead to get a similar result to what they got last time.
If Rico Lewis will play fullback, won't he? And remember, he's only just come back from a red card against Crystal Palace. So right away, I'm saying to the lads, hey, we put him under as much pressure as we possibly can.
There's going to be chances, isn't it? Yeah.
And make him make fouls, take him on, and put him under as much pressure as we can. Because he's not got a lot of experience, although he's a fabulous football player. But he's in a makeshift back four. So let's look at who's the vulnerability, and let's make that one of a part of our game that we have an advantage of, and you put him under as much pressure as you possibly can.
And he seems to have struggled with some of the physicality this season
Exactly.
as well. And you talk about suspension, it's actually a timely time of year as well, with the yellow cards and the potential Boxing Day suspensions as well, isn't
Listen,
it?
I used to try and get 5 bookings.
Well, to go away for
you
Christmas.
can admit it now. You can admit it now.
Because you were timing it for Christmas.
Well, I got 1 in October, 2 early doors in November. I'm thinking I can get Boxing Day off. And Graham Taylor used to...
What did you do to get the bookings? Or what did
Oh,
you
nothing. I can remember Graham Taylor. He's like, come off, because you might get booked for the... And I'm like, no, I'm not coming off. I'm coming. He went, get off, because he was like, you're trying to miss Boxing Day. and incidentally, I never did it. And we played out here, to be fair, we trained out here on Christmas night, and we played, I think it was QPR in Boxing Day, and we battered them 5-0, and they said, right, you don't need to play against. There was a cup game coming up, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh boy, back in the day, it used to be great. But nevertheless, sorry, I interrupted you there. But
No, that was worthwhile, trust me.
I was just wondering about, did you get a suspension at Christmas? Or?
Never.
No? Well, you never made a tackle. So.
Oh, of course. Always fair tackles.
Yeah, exactly. Not to result in a booking then. But it's a tricky time of year, though, in terms of the suspensions, with all of the yellow cards, Stiliyan, that are building up. And if that's in the back of any of players' minds at present, not necessarily to have Boxing Day off, but because of the threat of suspension.
Of course. And it will be, before every game, especially before suspension, the manager and the staff, they'll go around the dressing room and they'll make the point. They'll make the point that you are just ahead of suspension. Be careful. Make sure your tackles are on time, and make sure you don't do anything stupid. But we as players, when we go out there, everything goes.
Emotions.
You don't think about it, don't you? Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the adrenaline, the pace of the game. You can't protect yourself now, especially with the VR and everything that's been looked at. It becomes more difficult for players. But yeah, you get the warnings, but the sooner you go out there, you forget everything.
Kovacic is another one. Kovacic. I would be all over him today in terms of making him make tackles, putting him under pressure, and almost
rush him into
things. If his touch is not very good, we'll win the ball back, or try and get past it. Morgan Rogers is going to be so important for us today, taking the ball 30 yards further up the pitch at times, and let's hope it's a good day for us all.
Hopefully so. Right, the all-telling part now. Predictions time. So score prediction from you, Stiliyan.
4-0 Villa.
He did threaten, to be fair. Before we went live, he did threaten. He said 5-0, to be fair. So you've at least come down 1 goal from your earlier threatened prediction. Right, we're going to stick with that then. 4-0 for Stiliyan. Darius?
I'm going 2-1. I think it's going to need to be a similar performance. Last time we was at Villa Park, we beat them, so similar result then.
But expecting them to be able to get at least then 1 on the board there. Alan?
We have the best goalkeeper in the world. We will score in the first half, and the second half we'll win 2-0.
Oh, nicely done. You're going to give us a goal scorers as well then with that, John Duran, for at least one?
Assist from Petrov and a goal from Vassell. McInally wraps it up with the second goal.
There you go. Alan's still in his fantasy world, but we'll let him enjoy.
I'll go. Ollie Watkins comes on and scores in the second half. There you go.
There you go. Right, we can have 1 each. 1 for Duran, 1 for Watkins.
That'll
2
do.
Vassell and I that we've got in the Premier League. Right, that is pretty much everything from us. Now, Mark Regan and Ian Taylor are going to be talking you through the action. But lads, thank you so much for your time. Darius, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and we will welcome you back again very soon. Now, of course, we've got some really big games to look forward to, and it is the 150th year of the club. And as part of those celebrations, we have the FA Cup game against West Ham as part of the 150th anniversary. Now, here's a little taster of that game.
Help but feel the sense of history when you come to this ground. You can't help but feel the sense of history when you see Aston Villa walk out.
It's won by one of the most famous clubs in football, Aston Villa.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Oh, he has it! And it is!
It's like the good
together. You can feel it in the atmosphere.
An era that excites, and an era dripping with ambition, looking to match the fine achievements of the past here at Aston Villa Football Club.
Hey, geezer.
All right, Oz.
Let's play Villa Park.
As long as I'm left wing.
Please, Lord, just let me play for the Villa.
Pass. Two nice high line practice. To your right. Forward to the right. Hold the line, Rob.
Unai, I've got this. I'm ready to play.
Who's that?
Do you want me through the middle or on the left?